Hi, so what you're about to watch is me attempting to install Windows XP on this Toshiba Satellite Pro. Um, it's a 486 laptop. It's got a parallel port, a serial port, a VGA out, a PS2 port, a built-in power supply, and a docking connector. It's got a CD drive, I think it's 1X. It's got a PCMCIA card slot. And a proprietary floppy connector. And it's also got a sound card, which I think is one of the cooler features. So, basically, I'm going to try and install Windows XP on this thing, and it's not in that great of shape, and it's a passive screen. Let's see if I can show you kind of like, you can see some of the like little scuff marks and stuff. Passive matrix screen, so it doesn't look great, and it's not really worth a whole lot. It's not really worth a lot of restoration effort. And the battery is pretty much toast. It's got 20 megs of RAM and a 75 megahertz 486, so that's what we're working with here. And also, I apologize, throughout the beginning parts of the video I wasn't using a tripod, but I started using a tripod later on in the video, so just bear with me. I just felt like I didn't want to redo all that again just to put the camera on a tripod. I started it late at night, and I worked through the morning, and it was a whole long adventure. So join me as I attempt to install Windows XP on a 486. It's stormy and dark outside, and in front of me there's a Toshiba Satellite Pro T2155 CDS. It's a 486 based laptop running at 75 megahertz with 20 megabytes of RAM. Tonight, I'd like to install Windows 95 and Windows XP on this laptop in a dual boot configuration. So join me on this interesting adventure in 2019 as I do a completely pointless thing with completely obsolete computer hardware, if you're interested. So the first problem I ran into was that machine can't boot off of CDs, and I don't have the original floppy drive for it. So what I decided to do was go ahead and get a ISO of Windows XP, Windows 98, and Windows 95, and I'm burning them onto different respective disks. And these are old ISOs from way back. I don't even know if they're still good, but they've been in the folder for a while, so I assume they're still good. Files usually don't go bad over time, I hope. Anyways, so I'm going to burn all those using this more modern Windows 10 laptop, and then I'm going to use an older laptop with a hard drive in it and install all these operating systems, and then I'm going to swap that hard drive over to the Toshiba laptop. And probably what's going to involve is I'm going to probably have to install Windows 95, install drivers, and then install Windows XP and sysprep it after. Probably won't install drivers, but I'll have to sysprep it because it'll have a key and it'll blue screen if I don't sysprep it. Anyways, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But that's Windows 98 burn. Now, why would I need to burn Windows 98? Well, the thing is, Windows 95 CDs are not bootable. Windows 98 includes a CD bootable version of MS-DOS for installing Windows 98. So, in theory, I'm hoping I should be able to run the Windows 95 setup from within that version of DOS. We'll see how that works out. It turns out I had burned the wrong version of Windows 98 and it was not bootable. So now I have this many disks instead of less. Oh well. So here we have laptop number 2 being featured because it has an IDE hard drive just like the 486 does. The funny thing about this one is we can get the light on it. I don't know if anybody remembers this sticker. Blast from the past. Sempron, single core, Vista capable. Sure, why not? Boot from CD-ROM drive. That's where we start with this. Apologies, not using a tripod tonight. So this is basically where I'm starting. You should be able to F-disk. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to enable large disk support because if I make this as compatible as possible, I'll probably do better. Sorry. Delete DOS partition. Apparently these are all DOS partitions, which is probably a good thing. Dear. Delete extended. Number 1. Okay. Delete primary. Number 2. Presario RP, and the reason it's called that, of course, is because this is a compact Presario, and I'm going to be stealing its hard drive for the 486. Okay, 3, gotta delete the extended DOS partition now. Sorry if I'm just kind of cruising through all this, but this is just like dumb extraneous stuff to do. 3. You know what? Why not? Let's try a reboot and see what happens. So this is where my noobishness will really shine through. I wasn't sure about my order of operations, and I think now I have to create a primary partition just to unscrew up what I screwed up earlier. And this is going to take a while because every time that it has to verify drive integrity, it takes a while. How about another reboot? Why not? You know, since F-disk told me to do it anyways. So I'm just having general trouble with F-disk on this machine, and I've never had this kind of trouble before. So instead, I'm going to try and boot up with the Windows XP Boot CD and see if I can partition from there. I like the partitioning tool that's included. Alright, that feels better. I should mention, by the way, this is a Windows XP Pro SP1 ISO, for obvious reasons. And another reboot. And this camera just does not want to stay focused. Alright, is this going to work this time? No large disk support. Create a partition? Primary partition? Is it going to work? It looks like it's going to work. Crap, I really should have looked at the partition table before I created this partition. Oh well. If I sound a little dead inside, it's because it's past midnight right now and I'm kind of tired, but I'm committed to this project, so, you know, gotta do it. For some reason. It's time for another reboot. Another one. These are so much fun. Oh, kitty. Kitty.
Little cat.
Okay, now I'm really tired, and I'm just going to copy Windows 95 over to the C drive so it's easier to install it. It's a lot quicker to do it that way than do it from a CD directly. Just pro tip in the future if you ever want to do this. And also, this is the magic directory to put it in. I'm not exactly sure why, but it helps. All of these ones don't even look like they're related to Windows 95 other than maybe extra add-on stuff. Look at all this. Look at all that junk. I don't remember all that being part of Windows 95. And there goes the inverter beeping. So I'll probably need to continue this tomorrow morning. That's okay, because I'm really tired.
Well, it's looking rather cloudy today. Hopefully I don't have to start the generator to finish making this video. My batteries are taking a charge, but I don't know, we'll see.
Alright, so here's the Toshiba again. Just to recap, we had previously used another laptop to install or to format the hard drive and install the MS-DOS system files onto this drive. And I also pillaged the hard drive from that computer. This is the original hard drive. It's a, let's see if I can get it to focus. 527 megabyte drive. And it's obviously too small to do much of anything. It's fat and slow, and it's also dying. So I'm going to keep it, set it aside, and just put a more modern drive in here. And apologies for not using the tripod for the entire rest of the video. I realized I did have one that would work for this. So, and I think last night I was just not particularly motivated to do a good job on this video. So there you go. Go ahead and turn the power coming from the inverter on, and see how this goes. I should be able to just boot off of the hard drive, because last night I did that format command with the /s, which means that the system file should be sitting on the drive. Let's see if we can adjust out this glare at all. There we go. Alright. So now what we gotta do is type in CD, Windows, I can't type very well without being this far away from the keyboard, and given that this is a slightly weird layout keyboard, it's very difficult to type on. CD options, CD cabs, setup. I think there's also some buzz coming from when I put my finger near the volume adjustment. It kind of makes noise, and when I turn it all the way up, it also makes noise. I'm thinking there's either a bad capacitor in the audio amplification circuit here, or it's picking up noise from the inverter. It could be either. But anyways, just go through the process normally. Install Windows 95. So what I'm going to do first is install Windows 95. Then I'm going to remove the drive, maybe, and install Windows XP. And then I'm going to sysprop Windows XP, and then I'm going to put the drive back in, and then I'm going to put the little piece of plastic that goes over the drive back in as well. But for now, this is just going through the process of installing Windows 95. And this is a passive STN display, so I can't hardly keep track of where the mouse is. Just have to move it and then stop. Also, this is a 640 by 480 LCD, so it's kind of easy to make it look good, so to speak. You don't really need drivers to have the proper resolution. It just is the proper resolution, which is actually kind of nice for an older DOS machine, because you're not sitting there going, I hope it scales this DOS game nicely. You know, it usually does. However, of course, this is a passive display, so it's not like you're going to be playing a lot of games or doing a whole lot of anything on this display. What I did there was it thought that maybe my setup files were a different copy of Windows. They're not. They're just part of this copy of Windows, so I'm just installing it in the same folder because it wanted to make a new folder. I'm going to try my favorite key. Oh, that one didn't work. How about 33333333? Okay, I'll actually have to find a key for this. Crap. Alright, let's see here. Alright, so that key worked. This keyboard is so strange. Yes, look for hardware. I'm not sure if this machine even supports plug and play, but whatever. See what happens. It appears as though Windows hasn't actually detected any hardware. Or at least it isn't displaying the little dialog saying it has. So, let me go ahead and uncheck extraneous stuff that I'm never going to use. Really, there isn't that much components-wise. I remember there being a lot more in the Windows 98 components menu. 95 I haven't installed in such a long time, I honestly can't remember much about it. It's very similar to 98, but just slightly more similar to Windows 3.1, really. Let's not install any network components because I don't even know if this will ever be on a network. It found the Chips and Technologies graphics accelerator. That's a good sign. Wonder if I can change the machine type to a laptop. Doesn't seem like this is all fine, to be honest. No, I don't want a startup disk. And now this part. Setup detected a disk in your floppy disk drive. I don't have a disk in my floppy drive, so. The cool thing is, all I had to do to get this machine to read this drive, the jumpers were set to cable select, and all I did was set them to drive 0, and which was just remove the jumper, and it worked perfectly. And I'm pretty sure this will be a much quicker hard drive than what came with this machine, so. It's booting normally. Hey, it's working. Nothing's blowing up. Exciting. This is exciting. Truly exciting. And this is also usually a lot more colorful. But you can't even hardly see the colors because of how washed out the display is. Let's see if I can make that a little bit better. Yeah, see,
There is like a spot right here that's completely whited out, but maybe it was more, it's being made more obvious by that little bit of glare. But I mean, it's not just the glare. There's a little dead spot up there. Anyways, um, let's see if I can contrast my way to good colors. That seems about the best we're gonna do. These displays never looked good. Um, they were the cheap option back in the day, and they always looked like crap. Whoa, okay, here we are. It's doing things. Things are happening. At this point, we shouldn't have any actual issues running Windows 95. So the next step is going to be trying to figure out Windows XP. And I'm sure that's going to be more of a puzzle than Windows 95. Because this machine's pretty much, I mean, Windows 95 and this machine are like a match made in heaven. Because you've got Windows and DOS. You can run the earliest 3D games. You can push it a little and run some later games because it's 75 megahertz. So it's at least at the clock speed of like a Pentium overdrive. You know, it's you're talking pretty, you know, I would hope pretty decent performance, although maybe I'm excessively hopeful because this is a laptop. But a 486 at 75 megahertz sounds pretty impressive to me by like the standards of this time period, and like what I would want to achieve with it. We'll go ahead and set the time zone, even if the time will probably never be accurate. So other interesting facts. This machine has its own power supply. There is no external power brick. It just has a little one of these cords coming out the back. I'll show it a little bit later. Contrast is cranked way too high now. Let's see if we can get that to look good. There we go. That looks normal-ish. It's dim, but normal looking. There we go. That's about as good as they'll ever look. Windows 95 setup. Oh, geez. I actually don't want to set up Internet Explorer 4 because that's going to make Windows slower. Let's just skip this. Can we not? Can we avoid this thing? Can we Control-Alt-Delete? Is there? Give me a way to escape from this. IE4 setup. It keeps changing. The tasks that are open keep changing. There we go. I killed it. All right. We're not getting Internet Explorer 4 active setup. Hopefully that broke it. So this disk actually had Windows 95 Plus on it, but I'm not even going to worry about that right now because that's not really, well, I don't know. Here, we'll appease you guys with at least one software install within Windows 95. This surface I have this thing sitting on isn't like really even. I'm not sure. Also, the thing that's interesting about this is I'm not really sure if this machine can read burned disks or not. So we'll see. We'll see if that CD drive actually means anything. Also, I have to check through these discs because I don't have any Sharpies over here, so I can't label them, so it's hard to say what's on them. I might need to burn these discs at like a low speed. Windows 98 SE, okay, so that's not what I want. Nope. Nope. Okay. It came with Windows 98, this machine, and that's what's on that 504 megabyte hard drive. And that's overkill for a machine like this. So, I mean, all this machine's probably ever going to successfully do is play probably MS-DOS games, maybe run some Windows 98 programs, or Windows 95 programs. It doesn't need a full-blown copy of Windows 98. It doesn't need USB, really, to exist. None of that. So here's the disk, the Windows 95 disk. We'll go ahead and show you the process of installing Plus. Can you read the disk? It's working on it. Let's see if it can read this disk. Let's see if it can read the disk that it itself was installed from. Now, this is the trouble with a 30-year-old CD drive. You know, I could probably use a lens cleaner or something of that description, or a little tiny bit of air. But I'm not going to do that right at this exact moment. I'm just going to live with it as it is because I don't have any of that stuff handy. So let's see. I think it will install off of this drive. This drive is probably a 1X drive or something. So it's going to be, you're going to get to experience the true slowness of reading off of a CD back in the day on a slow CD drive. I'm just going to sit on my couch and watch this from afar. It's going to take a while. You know, something just occurred to me too. Windows is going to be completely locked up because it's trying to read from a CD, but I don't think I heard a sound when Windows first booted. I could be wrong, but we might need to fix that. Alright, this isn't working. Abort mission. Alright. So I made a small partition that was 2 gigabytes in size, just to try and sort of make sure that this drive would be compatible with this machine, because the thing about old 486s is a lot of them have a drive size limit of, well, 504 megabytes or 527 or something around there. I think the reason has to do with the maximum number of cylinders that is allowed. And see, this has 1,023 cylinders. I think it's like 1,024 is the max number or something. But so you have to use some kind of clever tricks to get an old machine like that to read a bigger drive. And most of the time you can get them to read or to recognize and to give you access to the latter part of the drive. It just takes some software trickery. So last night I had formatted this drive in a different machine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and shut the machine down. And we're going to try to install Windows XP using the other machine, and then sysprep it, and then stick it back in here and see what happens. Oh, and I need to see if I can get sound working. Those are the main objectives in this video, is have Windows 95 with sound and have Windows XP boot at all. So there's no sound. Oh, wait. My fault. Hey, okay. Alright, let's just reboot really quick just to see how long it takes to boot, and also to hear that glorious startup sound. Also, let's see here. PCM-CIA socket's not working properly, but everything else seems to be working properly. Can I change graphics settings? I suppose that's the other little test I should do before I shut her down. Let's put, I don't know, some kind of something. Huh. clouds. I remember that wallpaper pretty well. So let's see if we can change the graphics settings. And once I've done that, it's time to move on to Windows XP. Because the thing is about getting, CD drivers and all that working in DOS, that could be a later video. I want to have just the operating systems installed for now. Because that other stuff is kind of different in nature, let's just say. Well, it's a little bit 486-y, but it's doing it. There's a problem with your display settings. Yeah, I mean, let's just try 256 color. Hey, that did work. It looks really nice. Alright, so I'm going to leave it at this for now. Just to recap, 486, 20 megabytes of RAM. So now I'm going to shut it down, and we're going to put the drive back in its original machine, and we're going to install Windows XP, which happens to also be the OS that machine came with. So this will be fun, and probably relatively easy up until a certain point. By the way, the hard drive for the Toshiba is super easy to remove. All you have to do is pop the little plastic. There's a little plastic spacer thing. Hi, me. How you doing? There's a little plastic like faceplate, and then you just stick something flat behind the drive, pop it out, and then pull it the rest of the way out through the hole. And then there's just 4 little screws on the bottom. I could show that in a separate video maybe in the future. It's super easy. It's awkward to film. My camera setup's not the best. And then this adapter goes on there like that. And then this drive goes in here like that, pretty much. That'll work. And then plug it in to my janky multiple adapter power adapter cord thing. There we go. Double reflection. Hello, double me. Uber reflective display here. And booting from Windows XP. Awesome. So this is pretty much all just a normal Windows XP install. I'm not going to bore you with the slowness, because we don't really care about this compact right now. Maybe we will in the future, but alright, so I've got my little 2 gigabyte partition here. I'm going to create a new partition. I'm going to make it 8 gigabytes-ish, because I'm confident, have confidence. And then I'm going to make another new partition. We'll deal with that ladder space later. Format with FAT, because I want it to be accessible so I can store stuff in it.
Now I have to do some research. Did FAT32 exist in the time of Windows 95? Well, you know what? I guess I don't care that much. Let's just do it this way. Make sure you select Quick unless you really care about formatting the drive. Alright, and this part. Okay, so now we're here. So now I need sysprep. It was a little strange, by the way. We didn't go through the welcome wizard, which usually happens. Man, sometimes you gotta wipe a flash drive just to put a copy of sysprep on it. There we go. So, I've got my flash drive with sysprep on it. Got my USB port. Shove that in there. Hope something good happens. I'm going to leave the resolution at 640 by 480 because I find it not only amusing, but also I'm sure it'll help with compatibility when we switch to that other machine. I think what you have to do is uh-oh. You kidding me? Alright. You know what? Fine then. We'll format it with Windows XP. How about that?
Okay, that's formatted with Windows XP. Let's see what happens. I take this, plug it into here, this other machine, and move this press over to it again. I really hope this works because I'm running out of battery and patience, and yes, this laptop only has USB 1 on it because that was a cost-saving measure. When I was a kid, this laptop looked amazing to me, and I thought it was a nice laptop. I never knew what a piece of junk it actually was. So I think all I gotta do is just run that. Yes. Shut down. And I think factory is the button. Goes in the 486, and hopefully we can get Windows XP to boot on a 486. Won't that be interesting? All you gotta do to install the hard drive. Whoa. Let's try not to bend the pins. Basically just shove the machine or the drive in the side of the machine like so. Sorry, you can't really see what I'm doing. I'll make sure I didn't bend any pins. Now it's being difficult, of course. Okay, there's another distinct possibility, and that's that the hard drive didn't get plugged in correctly, which would suck. That seemed like it went in correctly, so hopefully that works. Please boot. Hey, there it is. I hear it booting the way it used to. Okay, I didn't kill anything. Good. Well, I'm not sure how to get past this point. I don't know. I think I might have to start over and just install Windows XP or something. I don't know. Looking through the old knowledge base for Windows XP, and they were talking about disk corruption or, compressed disk or whatever. And I had this thought that maybe the 486 laptop can't actually read that second partition, or can't completely understand that second partition that I've made. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to reinstall Windows XP into a smaller partition. The other possibility is that boot.ini needs to be repaired, but I don't know. I'm thinking it's more likely that this 486 just can't handle my partition structure, and maybe somebody else has a better idea than completely reinstalling Windows, but I want to make this work today. I'm kind of motivated. So I'm not going to give up. I'm going to just wipe the drive completely and reinstall Windows XP just to see if I can get it to run. And if it will run, I probably honestly won't do much of anything with it. I'll probably just wipe the drive again, reinstall Windows 95, and leave it like that. But for now, I just want to see if Windows XP can be installed and will boot on this 486 laptop. So I'm going to go through all this process again and then restart the video when I'm a little bit closer to the end. So I don't think I actually do want to use the recovery console. We'll see what happens. Administrator password every time. See, and the reason I'm fairly certain that this drive is fine and that it has something to do with booting on a 486 is that it'll boot like that. Just fine, no problem. But it won't boot on the 486. So I'm going to go ahead and reinstall Windows on a 2 gig partition, because that's the smallest size I can imagine actually installing Windows XP in and having it fit. And we're going to see what happens. Alright, we're going to make it 2 gigs just for you. Just for you, 486. Just for you. Alright, so here we are in the welcome setup thing that didn't happen last time for some reason. I'm just going to skip everything. Don't need any of this. No, I don't want to register. Anyways. Alright, here we are. Windows XP again. Let me go ahead and wait for the flash drive to pop up. So this computer is a 1.7 gigahertz AMD Sempron 3000 plus with 640 megs of RAM. Not the best. It's alright though. What I'm going to go ahead and do is do sysprep and then hit OK and then factory. Once again, hard drive. I think the factory button is the right button. I hope so. I think that's lined up. I think that's working. Alright. Is it going to boot? Will it boot Windows XP? That is the question. 1995. Come on. And this error again. Alright, well, for now, I am going to have to give up on this. I'm going to reinstall Windows 95 at some point and leave it at that for now. But if anyone has any tips on how to get this to work, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this incredibly long video, leave a like and things of that nature. Till next time, thanks for watching.